challenges there. Now, the minister is also expected to hand over water tankers to various districts of the province to mitigate the effects of the drought. Now, this is part of the department's efforts to resolve major challenges affecting efficient water delivery. But for the latest, we're joined from Dutywa by SABC reporter Zimkitha Manqinana. Of course, she is with the Minister of Water and Sanitation, Minister Nomvula Mokonyane. Zimkitha, a very warm good morning to you. Now, how serious, of course, are water conditions from where you're standing in Dutywa?
A very good morning and a warm welcome to Mbhashe local municipality here in Dutywa this morning. Tumelo, the water situation in rural areas is so dire because many villages don't have running taps in their communities, so they depend on raining water. And in the past 6 months, there hasn't been a lot of rain, meaning that a lot of people are living without water in their areas. But these water tankers that will be handed over by the minister today will give somewhat relief to some communities. But we're going to speak to her and find out how many and how long are they going to be around so that you can just talk us through the program. Good morning, Minister, and welcome, and thank you very much for giving relief to these people. You know, it's Christmas time and people don't have water in their areas. How many tankers are you handing over to this specific municipality, and how many others are we likely to see around the Eastern Cape?
We're handing over the entire team, the entire fleet, to the province of the Eastern Cape, which will then be distributed across on the basis of the needs. Here in Mbhashe, we will be leaving at least 2 tankers that would then assist in augmenting water availability. It is not the only intervention that we are now coming up with. We have cumulatively, as national government, have allocated almost 441 million to the Eastern Cape for municipal water infrastructure. And what has now been spent is only 20% of it. It is that amount also that we are going to look at and see how we can reorganize it and reprioritize so that it can be utilized to make meaningful interventions. The third thing is that we have also made a commitment of refurbishment of 25 boreholes, 5 boreholes per district. That must also contribute in the augmentation of water supply, because one advantage about the Eastern Cape is that we do have, from a national position, an indication that 76% of water is available for this province. What is a challenge is reticulation, which is supposed to be the responsibility of the water service authorities, which are your municipalities, in ensuring that this water that is there, 76%, the dams are at 76% here, can actually reach out to our people. Secondly, we also know that it is 5 out of the 25 dams that are much in need that are highly affected and almost have run dry. So part of what we really need to deal with is functionality of our systems at local government level. It's the capability of local government to deal with operations and maintenance, because they are the ones who must then be able to deal with those things. As we have come here today, we had a very intensive engagement with both the provincial government as well as all the district municipalities, because 16 municipalities here in the Eastern Cape are water services authority. We are reflecting as to whether they are in reality having the capacity to take responsibility of water.
Let's now talk about the issues of cleaning water. We cannot run away from the fact that many people in rural areas depend on water from springs and dams. What can be your advice to those people who won't really have access to these water tankers? When they fetch that water from the rivers, what must they do first before they use that water for food purposes?
We have 79% of the population here in the Eastern Cape being provided with water. Out of that 79%, 21% are in the rural areas. A lot still needs to be done, because it then indicates that many rely on other unprocessed, non-purified water. We need to work again with our authorities, with the Department of Health, with the Department of Education, in educating our people, in raising awareness on how to keep your water clean. There are various options. You must boil your water. There are other ingredients that you can pour into your water so that then you can have clean water. But of importance, we're distributing these very tanks as well as provision of water storage capacity to the rural areas, so that we do not only try and tell our people to clean the water that they get from a site where even animals drink. We rather bring clean water to the rural areas, so that we install the dignity of our communities in the rural areas. They also deserve a better quality of water supply.
Let's talk about dams, Minister, across the country, because the crisis is not just in the Eastern Cape, because we don't see much rain coming to our country now because of various reasons. What plans are there to construct several dams just across the country?
Dam security is quite important. Construction of dams does not mean there will be sufficient water, but we take advantage of the drought, amongst others, to clean the existing dams. Secondly, to raise the walls of other dams that are already in place. Thirdly, to deal with the water treatment processes, because the quality of water also becomes important. Promotion of reuse. So yes, there are a number of dams that we are working on. The long-awaited Zimkitha water scheme of the Eastern Cape is now coming into fruition, which is something that before the State of the Nation address, there will be a major pronouncement on site. There are various dams that we are now discussing with the municipality that are built here in the Eastern Cape, but municipalities can't even put a 50-kilometer, not even a 15-kilometer pipeline to just deal with the reticulation. And that's where the weakest link is, the capacity of our water service authorities in accessing the water that is in our dams. Like I'm saying, dams in the Eastern Cape are at 74% capacity, but the inability of the water service authorities creates a problem for our own people, and hence our coming in, our stepping in and making sure that we turn things around. Lastly, what is important, South Africa must change the way we handle water. We must recycle water. There mustn't be any drop of water that you use and easily dispose of without thinking about using it for the second time. The second one is that we've all been relying predominantly on surface water. The Eastern Cape has got groundwater in abundance. We need to look at that. Joe Kabi has been declared a disaster area. We are working now together with the Free State, particularly for the areas of Aliwal North, to release water from the Katsi Dam. It is pumping, and within a number of days, the water will reach this particular site, because it's more than 500 kilometers, and you need to make sure, therefore, that there is no burst as the pressure reaches the destination. Fourthly, those who can afford, as we deal with all these things, it costs money. Let's deal with that. We call on government officials. We call on senior officials in the municipalities. Let them take their responsibility serious. Just now in the morning, Utinage was also affected from last night, and it all borders on early warning systems. Because of the heat levels, our reservoirs are boiling, and there are solutions to cool off a reservoir. So there must be consequences, and there must also be an introspection from all of us as to whether we've got capable men and women who are looking after this precious resource.
All right, thank you very much, Minister, for your time. There you have it, the Tumelo, a lot of enthusiasm from the Minister, and a call to everyone to reuse water, because we're really struggling, especially here in the Eastern Cape. It's back to you now in Johannesburg.
Well, thank you so much, Zimkitha Manqinana. Very interesting to know that 79% of Eastern Cape commuters, of course, have water, and only 21% of those are from rural areas. So I suppose the department still has a long way to go. Of course, solutions that they've provided seem to be in plan and to be in action, and we can only hope, of course, that there's sustainable solutions for the Eastern Cape, of course, especially during the drought this season. But now